Well, hello, my dear.
Well, hello, my dear.
Today is Sunday, June 1st, 2025. It's 63 degrees right now, so it's perfect temperature.
Oh,
It's not
yes,
hot, not cold.
not.
We're out at beautiful Prentice Park.
Now, how long has it been since we've been out here?
To Prentice Park, I think the last time we were out here and did videos is when we were um, babysitting in town, and we came down here with the katanas
Yeah,
and the nunchucks. So that was quite a few years ago. That was like 2014.
about 2014. Okay.
2015, somewhere in there.
Okay.
We've been here since then, but not to make videos.
Great.
So, what are we going to be talking about today, my dear?
Well, today we're going to be talking about martial art. Now, a lot of people, I think, have a misconception about karate or any type of martial art. Okay. When I was growing up, um, my Aunt Mary, in particular, as a matter of fact, she was the only one. She was really concerned about me being involved in the martial arts. Okay, she was a pastor. She would tell me, she said, Mark, you know the reason why you ain't got the Holy Ghost? Because there's something that you're not letting go. And I said, what that is? She told me it was karate. And I said, why is that? She said, well, karate is basically of the devil. I mean, to be able to break bricks with your hand and stuff like that, that's the devil. Uh, you know, I thought about that. So she told me, she said, Mark, you should take your karate gi, karate belt, your nunchucks and your scythes and all that oriental weapons and stuff and put it on the altar and give it to God. And God will fill you with the Holy Ghost. I was young, probably a little naive at the time too, but hey, I did want the Spirit of the Lord to come in me. So that's what I did. I put my nunchucks up there. I put my scythes and swords, all kinds of oriental weapons, my gi and my belt and everything on the altar. But there was a thought that occurred to me. The martial arts made me who I was. I was like a pacifist. I didn't like violence. I had morals, even at a young age. Maybe not as refined as it is now, but I knew that the martial arts is what gave me a grip on life. And it made me feel good about me. But let me tell you why. And let me tell you the story. You may not believe it. Okay, my upbringing, as you know, my dear, was very, very harsh. Very harsh. I was a victim of child abuse. Um, I am 66 years old right now, and I have scars on my body that should have healed a long time ago. But I still got scars right now from being beat with, you name it, extension cords, switches, telephone wires, and all kind of stuff. I mean, just, you know. But anyway, but my mother, she didn't like me for some reason. But then eventually she told me why. I look like my father. Figure that. You know what I mean? But anyway, my mother didn't like me. So her punishment was this. When I was very young, one day she just told me, she said, I had a bedwetting problem. I didn't know why, but now I know why now. But anyway, I had a bedwetting problem. And she told me, you wet the bed because you're just trying to get at me, trying to get on my nerve and stuff like that. So anyway, she said, you know what? No, and you're going to be sleeping in the basement. Not only did I sleep in the basement at night, I was in the basement all day. When I went to school and came home from school, I went in the basement. When it was time to eat, she would take the food and put it on the floor and close the door like I was a little dog. And I had to go up and get my food, go down in the basement. Okay, that got to me. Yes, it did. It hurt me. You know, all my brothers upstairs sleeping in nice warm beds. I'm downstairs in a cold, damp basement. It was always water on the floor. It was cold. It was dark. It was like a dungeon. You know what I mean? But anyway, to make a long story short, I had to endure that. But then, as a means to that, me and my brothers, when we were growing up, and I'm quite sure a lot of you out there, a lot of kids out there, there's a lot of bullies and stuff like that. And we used to get jumped on, we used to get beat up and stuff like that. And I asked my mother one day, I said, Mom, I said, why don't you send us to a karate school? She said, well, I can't afford to do that. I said, well, why don't you just send one of us to the karate school? She said she couldn't afford to do that either. So then all of a sudden, one day, miraculously, my brother Eric, one of my brothers came in one day. He must have went to the school library and got a book, and the book was called Boys Karate. All right. So he said, Mark, check this book out, and kind of like threw it to me. I was sitting on the bed at the time, and all of a sudden I picked the book up, and I looked at it, and it had a whole bunch of white boys in there. And see, I'm from the ghetto. I ain't seen a lot of white people. So when I seen these white people in this book, I thought maybe they were from another planet. Because I never seen white people. I grew up in the ghetto, man. I grew up with nothing but black. You know what I mean? So I thought that was kind of strange. But anyway, they had these little boys in there, and it was a black and white book where it wasn't in color, and they had them doing like karate kicks and punches and stuff. But it wasn't a book that goes into detail like how to train and how to stretch and all that junk. I couldn't read that good anyway, so I just studied the pictures. So I love my brothers. I love them to death. And since we couldn't fight, and I got beat up too. But when they got beat up, it hurt me, man, because I love my brothers. So what I did, and I'm very creative. I'm an artist. I can draw back then and stuff like that. While I was downstairs in the basement, I took that book and I studied it. And I tried to emulate the things I seen in the book, the punches, the kicks. Now, them guys were kicking like really high. But when I kicked, my kick was down here. And I was wondering, like, how come my leg ain't going up there? But see, they had to stretch. I didn't know nothing about that. So I just kept kicking, kept kicking, kept kicking until eventually my legs started going up, 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 up. So then, all of a sudden, my time in the basement became a necessity to me because I was away from everyone. I was downstairs in the basement by myself and I was training. And I'm talking about I trained hard. I did push ups, I did set ups, I did deep knee bends, running in place. Then honestly, I got this idea to punch on the wall. There was like this big old beam down there. It looked like a railroad tie. It was big. And I was punching on that boom, 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 boom. I'm punching on the wall, bam, and kicking the wall with the ball of my foot and the blade of my foot. And I'm talking about every day I train hard. Then all of a sudden, one day, my uncle comes to me. He tells me, he said, hey, Mark, you want to make your hands hard? I said, yeah. He said, well, go get you some salt that you put on the snow and ice, and you take a big old pail and you fill it up with the salt, but put very little water in it, and you punch and you punch and you grab, dig your fingers in and you grab it and stuff like that. So he told me that's gonna make my hand hurt, and I believed it. So and I used to have to walk a mile to a filling station to go get this salt. I would get 6 bags, 3 on one shoulder and 3 on the other. And needless to say, these bags weighed 10 pounds apiece. So that's what? How many pounds?
60 pounds.
60 pounds. And I'm just a kid, little bitty skinny thing, looking like I'm suffering from malnutrition from Ethiopia or something like that. And I'm walking with this stuff, and people used to look at me like I was crazy, walking a mile with this stuff on my shoulder. But you know what? That was building up my legs. And needless to say, jumping ahead a little bit, I ended up working in a place where I was lugging beef. So I was lugging beef like I was trained for that too, I guess. But anyway, I go downstairs with this stuff, put it all in the pail, and I'm punching, I'm doing all this junk, right? But anyway, to make a long story short, that was probably the best thing that my mother did, putting me in the basement and treating me like a dog. I don't know how I did it, but I took a bad situation and made it into something good. I was down there because and training because I love my brothers and I did not want to see them hurt anymore. So I trained diligently. I trained hard. I put my body through all kinds of pain and strife. But then, later on I found out the Japanese do this stuff, man, in Okinawa, and like Masayama fighting bulls, but see, I trained like that. Okay, so anyway, then when we go to school, I then got to learn how to train and got real strong. And they didn't mess with my brothers and stuff. But then I realized that it was like a bunch of them, like 5, 6, 7, 10, 15, 20 of them at a time. I'd tell them, hey man, hey, let my brother go home. Y'all just deal with me. So I learned how to fight a whole bunch of people at once. I got beat up a few times, but then as time progressed, I realized that if I put my back up against the wall, and as soon as someone come in, bam, and then I realized too that if I struck someone, you don't just play with them and slap them on. You hit them with a purpose. Hit them, pow, and get it over with. And then the next one comes, bam, because I don't want to expend my energy. You know what I mean? But anyway, well,
That's true. Very true.
very true. So anyway, then the butt whooping stopped from the kids and the bullies. The next thing you know, everything was fine. But then one day somebody came to me, one of my brothers, why don't you go to a karate school and go into tournaments? And I didn't know nothing about all that. So I taught myself karate from the age of 12 until I was 18 years old. When I turned 18 years old, I went down to Kim Lee, which was downtown in Milwaukee, bought myself a red belt in Taekwondo. See, I like to kick, so I found out through reading other materials that Taekwondo emphasized a lot of kicks. So I made myself and proclaimed that I took up Taekwondo. So if someone asked me, hey man, what rank are you? I said, I'm a red belt. Red belt is equivalent to a brown belt in Japanese. And what style did you take? Oh, I took up Taekwondo. Man, I went to these schools. I was amazed. They were amazed. I have never entered a school and got taught by uh, a certified instructor. I taught myself, and I was in there whooping a lot of butts. But the thing is, I hurt a lot of people too, which is not funny when I think back on it. I hurt a lot of people because I didn't know anything about focus. I was hitting things. They were punching and pulling it back, punching in the air and doing a lot of katas. I was like in a fighting mode. So anyway, start sparring with people and accidentally knocking people's teeth out and breaking ribs and bones and stuff like that. And I messed up a lot of people. But anyway, so what I'm saying is this: I took a bad situation and turned it into something positive. And if it wouldn't have been for my mother putting me in the basement like she did, I wouldn't have never trained like that. I wouldn't have had that tenacity, that spark, that oomph, that drive. And I needed to be alone. If I wanted to train like that, or anyone wanted to train in the martial arts like that, and you're training by yourself, I learned how to be learned solitude, how to be by myself. And then the things that she would tell me, like you'll never amount to this or amount to that, you're this, you're that, all negative talk. But while I was downstairs getting strong and looking at myself in the mirror, taking glimpses from time to time and seeing that my arms and my knuckles, my hands, and the way I carried myself, it was like It made me feel good about me. And you know, that's important. A lot of people need validation or someone else's approval to feel good about themselves. But see, I learned to feel good about me in that basement. And I carry that to this day. Okay, so when I ran into my Aunt Mary, and my Aunt Mary telling me all this stuff about the devil and this, that, and the other, but I'm here to tell you that there's a lot of people out there in the martial arts that probably abuse it and probably not living as a true martial artist. Um, but martial art is not about that. Martial art is about building morals and character and virtues. And once you learn that you have a lot of, power or whatever to hurt people, then you learn to respect life and not take it, but respect it. And that's the kind of person I am. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is this: if you are confronted with a bad situation in your life, there's always something you can do. Not dwell on the negative. Whatever circumstance that you're presented with or what you're confronted with, sit down and think about it. Don't just get all irate and get emotional and sit down and ponder and say, why am I in this situation? There's something to learn from the good as well as the bad. So if something bad is going on in your life, just take a look around the bend and there's something good you can get out of it. And that's what I did. And here I am, 66 years old. And I'm a nice person. I smile, I'm courteous and nice and stuff. I mean, I'm cool, man. I'm cool. I mean, within myself, I don't need validation. I don't need anyone's approval. I don't follow other people's uh, drumbeat. No, that's not what life is about. And life ultimately is about being happy. But you got to be happy from within, happy with yourself. If you need something to stimulate you to be happy, that's not good. Because if you're looking for validation from other people or whatever, they may end up doing something that may discourage you. And once you become discouraged, you feel bad. But if you feel good about you first, so then when other people do things or say things or negative things come to you, it won't affect you. I'm not saying that I'm bulletproof, that, I don't get hurt, I don't have emotions. I do just like everyone else does. But it's how you handle it. You're going to go through strife in life. You're going to go through your ups and downs and stuff like that. But there is a lesson in that. Don't just become disheartened or down on yourself because other people say you're this and you're that. Don't listen to those things. Listen to what's in here. Now, ultimately, I'm going to tell you how I did that is beyond me, but I do know this: God helped me with that. Because at a young age like that, how was I able to come out of all that, getting beaten, mistreated, and all that? I lost an eye because of my mother, and and still be the person I am today. How is that? It had to
God.
have been God. So, and God likes warriors, strong warriors. So, I'm a warrior. I'm strong, but I'm a peaceful warrior. A lot of people look at me sometimes when I used to be really big. They look at me and, oh man, he's big, I'm intimidated. Why should a person feel intimidated of another man? I'm I'm just a man, just a mere man. So when I see a man that's 7 feet tall, you think I'm gonna be intimidated by him? No, I'm not gonna look at him as intimidation. He's another human being who happens to be 7 foot tall. That's all. There's only one thing I'm scared of, and I'm out here in the woods now, and that's a bear. Okay, that's it. Now, if a bear step up, you think I'm gonna lay down? Okay, I'm not telling y'all not to lay down. I ain't laying down because he might be hungry. If he's hungry and I lay down, that's lunch. But if he's hungry and I stand up and yeah, you never know what's going to. We never know. I've been attacked by dogs, and dogs would come at me, and I just, and then, I mean, like, and ready to fight, but they'll run. I don't know why. Could have been my breath at the time. I don't know. But I just know that there's a good God out there, and I still practice martial arts today. I do. And I got my little gym. I always have a gym in my home. Heavy bags and stuff. And but I'm just saying that we all have the ability to take a bad situation and make it good. And we went to a 50-year anniversary. But it's karate school. I ended up joining. I ain't gonna say the kill, but anyway, we go there, and guys that I used to spar with in this school, like how many years ago? Like 30, 40, 50 years ago.
It was
like
late, yeah, almost 40 years.
Yeah, almost, yeah. 40. You didn't say 4, did you?
40.
Yeah, 40. I mean, put the emphasis on 40. 40 years. Okay. We go to this anniversary, and this is during COVID. All right, and everybody got masks on and stuff, except me, because I'm karate man. No, just kidding. But anyway, they all got masks on. They come up to me, hey, Mark, do you remember this? Mark, you remember me? Mark. And I didn't remember. No. Then they start taking off their masks, taking a chance of getting COVID. No, just kidding. But anyway, and they were talking about all the stuff I did right in front of my wife. And I didn't realize that I made such an impact on people's lives. I've taught a lot of people the martial arts too. When I was a kid, I was teaching kids. And then as an adult, I taught adults. And then even up here, I teaching people for MMA and stuff. And in women's self-defense. I mean, has brought me a lot of friends and always do. And but I just want to say, man, if you go into the martial arts and you study karate, it's not just about physical. It's mental, spiritual. It's a way of life. And if you get on the level I'm on, I ain't talking about a rank. I'm talking about when you get the full understanding of what the martial art really entails, you'll be a happy person, man. You can't help but be a happy person, And I guess with that, I'm just gonna say peace out and God bless everyone. And all you martial artists out there that are true martial artists, keep kicking, man. Like this one, he's on Facebook. I'm gonna see if I remember his name. His last name is Griggs, and I hope he watched this video. His first name is what's his first name, Beta Black? The brother from I think he's from Canada or something like that. Something
gosh.
Griggs.
But
anyway, he's on Facebook, and you know who I'm talking about if you see this. He looked like he's still fighting. He's got it on his Facebook thing. He's down in a pose, and he's got on the gear and stuff. But it's his first name. But that brother been fighting for years. I'm talking about he's ancient, and that guy still fights probably to this day. And he's a good martial artist. And I never met the guy, but I can tell by the things he posts and the things he say when we did communicate years back. He's a really true good. He's a true martial artist. So right now today, I am a karateka. I am a martial artist. But all that I give the glory to God because He helped me and made me as good as I was and as good as I am now. So you stump up and get your hand. Anyway, I have fun with. Hey, I'm in shape and everything. I'm not the $6 million man. I'm probably $1 million man now. I got all kinds of junk in my body and stuff, and all kinds of.
Still move fast as a gazelle.
I'll tell you, I don't know why, but I've been training all my life and not vigorously like I used to because I carry a gun now. No, I'm just kidding. I don't carry a gun, but God does my battles now. I don't have to beat up bullies no more. I have to protect my brothers and stuff like that. That's all in the past. But I give all glory to God for all the things I went through and how He helped me with stuff like karate and stuff like that. And helped me train properly and have the right mindset. So I really thank Him for that. And with that, I'll say peace.